The 2026 Toyota RAV4 and the 2026 Honda CR-V are the two crossovers your sensible neighbor buys right before acting like they just invested in aerospace technology. One is now hybrid only, the other still sells a tiny turbo with big confidence. And before the verdict, I'll expose the dealership trick that turns a family SUV into a financial ambush with cup holders. The Toyota starts with the smarter long-term bet. A naturally aspirated 2.5-liter A25 AFXS 4-cylinder tied to Toyota's 5th-generation hybrid system. Translation for normal humans: no little turbo spinning itself into a nervous breakdown, no belt-style CVT doing rubber band karaoke, and no conventional automatic hunting gears like it lost its medication. The Toyota uses direct and port fuel injection, Toyota's D4S setup, which matters because port injection washes the intake valves. That lowers the carbon buildup risk that haunts direct injection-only engines. The transmission is the boring kind of brilliant, a planetary electronic continuously variable transmission with motor generators, not a fragile cone and belt unit. Boring is what you want at 200,000 miles, when your neighbor's sporty crossover is getting a transmission quote that looks like a mortgage pre-approval. Based on this architecture, I would put the expected engine life around 250,000 to 300,000 miles before a catastrophic internal rebuild becomes a serious conversation. The eCVT hardware can realistically live beyond 300,000 miles if fluid, cooling, and software are not abused. The weak points are not dramatic, but they are real. Water pumps, coolant valves, hybrid cooling, wheel speed sensors, and inverter-related components become the adult bills. The hybrid battery is warranted for 10 years or 150,000 miles, but replacement after that can still turn a cheap used deal into an expensive science project. OEM parts availability will be excellent because Toyota sells these things like bread, but early 6th-generation electronic modules may be dealer-only at first. And keep this phrase in your head: the quiet rear axle tax. It sounds harmless now. Later it gets very expensive if you shop like a raccoon with a loan approval. That is your first mechanical breadcrumb. Unlike the Toyota's naturally aspirated hybrid-only strategy, the Honda gives you a split personality. The cheaper CR-V trims use a 1.5-liter turbocharged direct-injection 4-cylinder making 190 horsepower, while the hybrid trims use a 2.0-liter Atkinson cycle direct-injection 4-cylinder with a 2-motor hybrid system making 204 system horsepower. So yes, Honda gives buyers choice, because apparently the average crossover shopper needed a moral philosophy exam before school pickup. Here is the engineering clash. The Toyota's engine breathes without boost and uses port injection to help keep valves cleaner. The Honda Turbo is direct injection only, and the old oil dilution anxiety does not magically vanish because the brochure learned new fonts. Fuel can mix with oil during short trips, cold starts, and grandma-style driving where the engine never fully heats. Is every Honda doomed? No. But if your life is 5-minute errands and winter commuting, the Turbo is the version I trust less. The hybrid CR-V is the better Honda. Its direct-drive hybrid unit avoids the traditional belt CVT feel most people hate, and it is far less stressed than the little turbo. I would estimate the 1.5 Turbo's serious risk window starts around 150,000 to 200,000 miles if maintenance is lazy, especially with long oil intervals. The gas CVT deserves the same cautious range. The hybrid system, treated properly, should be a 250,000-mile powertrain before catastrophic failure becomes likely. Parts availability is strong because Honda volume is huge, but Toyota still wins the aftermarket depth contest. If you plan to keep the car until the seats look like a taxicab and the steering wheel is shiny from regret, the Honda Hybrid is good. The Toyota Hybrid is calmer. Now let's move from engines to the shiny shell that gets destroyed by grocery carts and dealership finance managers. The Toyota's body is redesigned, but it rides on a strengthened version of a familiar platform with stiffer suspension mounting points, more adhesive, and retuned dampers. That is good news for ride quality, because the old RAV4 could sometimes feel like a mailbox with airbags. Still, do not confuse Toyota durability with magical armor. Owners and forum people routinely complain about thin paint, rock chips, exposed suspension hardware, and little rust freckles in places you only notice while washing the car and questioning all your life choices. Suspension red flags on a test drive are simple:
clunks over low-speed bumps, a wandering steering feel, tire feathering, and a rear-end hum that changes with road speed. Expect struts, control arm bushings, and wheel bearings to be normal wear items after 100,000 miles, earlier if the car lives on potholes and oversized wheels. The Toyota's all-wheel drive is electric on the rear axle, which means no drive shaft running through the cabin and no conventional rear differential doing farm equipment impressions. That is cleaner, quieter, and usually more reliable. The trim sweet spot is the XLE Premium with all-wheel drive. You get the power liftgate, soft-tech seats, heated seats, parking assist, real family equipment, and you avoid the limited subscription-heavy tech buffet and the XSE's big wheel ride penalty. The Woodland looks cool, but all-terrain tires cost fuel economy and tire money. The market scam is predictable. Hybrid-only demand, allocation games, forced protection packages, and market adjustment stickers pretending to be a personality. If a dealer adds nitrogen, fabric spray, and a ceramic package blessed by a guy named Chad, leave. The best Toyota is the one bought at sticker or less, not the one financed like a timeshare.
While the Toyota uses an electric rear axle, the Honda stays more traditional with available real-time all-wheel drive. That means the CR-V feels conventional, predictable, and easier for many independent shops to understand. But conventional also means you need to care about rear differential fluid, binding on tight turns, and any groan from the rear when accelerating out of a parking lot. Honda's previous CR-V and HR-V all-wheel drive differential investigation was closed by regulators, but it still taught buyers the correct lesson. Test the rear end, do not just admire the payment. Body-wise, the Honda's not immune to the modern thin paint Olympics. Owners complain about paint chips, especially around high-impact areas, and the dealer response is often the sacred corporate poem. That is wear and tear. Translation, buy touch-up paint, peasant. Rust checks matter around wheel arches, hatch seams, underbody brackets, and rear suspension mounting areas, especially in salt states where roads are seasoned like French fries. Compared with the Toyota, the Honda suspension is tuned more comfortably. That's great for daily commuting, but worn struts, control arm bushings, sway bar links, and wheel bearings can still show up as the miles climb. On a test drive, listen for thumps, steering stickiness, and tire roar that might hide a bad alignment or chopped tires. The trim sweet spot is the Sport L Hybrid. Unlike the Toyota's XLE Premium, it gives you the better hybrid system, leather-trimmed seating, a stronger equipment mix, and avoids the Sport Touring price jump. The Trail Sport looks outdoorsy, but let's not pretend a compact family crossover with all-terrain tires is suddenly auditioning for a desert raid. The scam potential is lower than Toyota's hottest trims because CR-V inventory is broader, but dealers still love add-ons. If the paperwork includes protection, appearance, and market adjustment, congratulations, you are buying a crossover and funding someone's boat. Inside, the Toyota is where practicality meets software-induced forehead pain. Space is good, cargo room is usable, and the new cabin finally feels less like it was designed by a committee that hates elbows. But compared with the Honda, the RAV4 is not the open-plan apartment of compact SUVs. Rear seat space is fine for adults and kids, yet the CR-V feels airier and easier for car seats. Cargo capacity is strong, but Honda still wins the Costco Panic Run contest. Real early owner feedback is mixed in the most modern way possible. People praise fuel economy, ride quality, acceleration, and the fast center screen. Then they start screaming about profiles, drive recorder setup, random warmings, phone pairing, buried settings, and a manual that apparently requires a law degree and a minor in software engineering. One owner basically described the new Toyota as great after recruiting multiple family members to program it. That is not ownership, that is unpaid internship at Toyota Connected. Seat comfort is generally good, but the RAV4 still carries Toyota's usual cabin noise suspicion. The new body has more damping and better sealing, and reviewers say it is improved, but heavy acceleration can still bring engine drone. If your idea of luxury is silence, the Toyota will not tuck you into bed and read poetry. It will get you there cheaply and make some hybrid noises while doing it. For those of you who love poking smudgy touchscreens, congratulations! Toyota has fresh screens and endless menus. For normal people who enjoy changing temperature without stabbing glass like a raccoon stealing a tablet, the physical controls and sensible layout help. Materials are the compromise. The cabin is better than before, but hard plastics remain. The Toyota feels engineered to survive family abuse, not to flatter your fingertips like a luxury lounge. So the daily verdict here is simple: dependable, efficient, slightly noisier, and annoyingly digital.
Unlike the Toyota, the Honda wins the first 5 minutes of a family test drive. The doors open wide, the seating position is easy, the rear legroom is excellent, and the cabin feels like it was designed by someone who has actually carried a sleeping child, a backpack, and a leaking smoothie at the same time. The CR-V has more passenger space and a more relaxed second row, and that matters more than horsepower when your rear passengers are sticky, loud, and legally yours. Owner reviews back that up. Some CR-V hybrid owners praise the roomy rear seat, smooth EV to engine transition, easy parking, strong audio on higher trims, and cargo space that swallows family errands without drama. This is where the Honda makes the Toyota feel a little tight and businesslike. The CR-V is simply easier to live in. But Honda does not get a free massage. Some owners complain about cheap plastics, rough panel edges, basic infotainment, missing features at the price, and road noise on rough pavement. One frustrated owner said the interior felt rushed and careless. Another praised the Sport L as a near-perfect family hybrid. That spread is the CR-V experience: brilliant packaging with cost-cutting hiding in places your knees eventually find. The Honda's physical climate controls are a win. For those of you who enjoy changing fan speed without launching a settings menu into orbit, the CR-V respects your species. The Toyota counters with more powerful hybrid numbers and a newer tech feel, but the Honda answers with better daily ergonomics. Seat comfort favors the Honda for long trips. The ride is smoother, the cabin feels more open, and the back seat is friendlier. The Toyota is the better mechanical spreadsheet. The Honda is the better Tuesday morning. If your life is commuting, school, groceries, and pretending you will go camping, the CR-V understands you better.
Technology is where the Toyota tries to become a smartphone and accidentally becomes homework. Toyota Safety Sense 4.0 is standard, and the safety list is legitimately strong. Forward collision support, lane assistance, adaptive cruise, blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert, and on higher trims, more advanced traffic and parking features. That is great until you realize the car is also stuffed with settings, profiles, digital keys, cloud services, and trials that quietly mature into subscriptions. This resolves the dealership trick from the beginning. The scam is not only a markup, it is the combination of new model demand, forced accessories, and a delivery process where some dealers are selling a software-heavy vehicle they barely know how to configure. Early owner complaints describe dealers not training buyers, features not being set up, and owners going home to fight profiles, drive recorder menus, and warning screens. That is how a practical Toyota becomes a weekend tech support hostage situation. Then come the paywalls: Drive Connect, Remote Connect, Wi-Fi, cloud navigation, digital key features, integrated streaming, and traffic jam assist are wrapped in trials and subscriptions. The hardware is in the car, but the corporate bean counters still want a monthly snack. If you enjoy paying again for things bolted into the vehicle you already bought, congratulations, modern mobility has found your wallet. Insurance should be reasonable for the standard hybrid, but the PHEV trims and higher tech models can cost more after glass, cameras, sensors, radar calibration, and charger-related complexity. Repairs after a front-end hit are no longer bumper and paint. They are calibration rituals performed under fluorescent lights while your deductible cries. The smartest Toyota buyer skips the limited unless they truly need the tech, avoids dealer add-ons, and buys the XLE Premium Hybrid. That version gives you the safety and efficiency without turning ownership into a subscription aquarium. Compared with the Toyota's software buffet, the Honda feels simpler. That is both refreshing and disappointing. Honda sensing is standard, wireless phone projection is broadly available, and the infotainment is easy to use. But the screens are smaller and the feature list can feel stingy for the price. If the Toyota sometimes acts like a laptop with wheels, the Honda acts like a reliable office printer. Not exciting, but it usually understands the assignment until it randomly refuses to read a text message. Owner complaints around the CR-V's infotainment are real. Some buyers report phone message issues, lag, limited features, and dealer confusion. The difference is scale. The Honda system is less ambitious, so there are fewer ways for it to ruin your Saturday. The Toyota gives you more toys, the Honda gives you fewer toys and fewer clown doors. Now the second teased issue, the quiet rear axle tax. The Toyota's electric all-wheel drive rear motor is elegant, quiet, and usually low maintenance because it avoids a traditional drive shaft setup. But if that rear motor, inverter path, wiring, or control module gets damaged outside warranty, you are living in OEM parts country. The Honda's all-wheel drive is more conventional. It needs fluid service and can have coupler or differential complaints, but independent shops understand it better and diagnosis is less exotic. Insurance and total cost favor whichever trim you do not overbuy. The CR-V Hybrid Sport L has a strong cost case because it avoids the pricey touring while giving you the better powertrain. The 1.5 turbo trims look cheaper, but the oil dilution cloud and belt CVT long-term risk make them less attractive for high-mileage ownership. Safety-wise, remember the sticky steering recall history affected earlier same-generation Hondas through 2025, not automatically this model year. But on any test drive, highway steering feel matters. If it binds, walks, or feels notchy, do not rationalize it. Walk away.
Before the verdict, do the responsible thing and start an argument. If this helped, hit like. If you completely disagree, hit dislike with confidence, then write exactly where you think I am wrong. I will read it, and if your point is good, I will respect it. If it is nonsense, I will politely explain why your keyboard committed a crime. Also, tell me what vehicles you want compared next, and subscribe to the second channel linked below because financial self-defense should be a family activity. The winner is the Toyota, specifically the RAV4 XLE Premium Hybrid with all-wheel drive bought at sticker or below. Not the marked-up PHEV, not the gadget-stuffed Limited, and definitely not the version your dealer decorates with profit margin confetti. The Toyota wins because its naturally aspirated hybrid system, dual injection engine, and planetary eCVT are the best protection against catastrophic drivetrain bills. But this is not a clean execution. The Honda is the better daily family box. The CR-V Sport L Hybrid is roomier, calmer, easier to load with children and groceries, and more pleasant on bad pavement. If you prioritize comfort over lifetime mechanical odds, buy the Honda Hybrid and skip the turbo. The Honda 1.5 Turbo is the risk pick. The Toyota PHEV is the greed trap if marked up. The smartest money buys the Toyota Hybrid Sweet Spot or the Honda Hybrid Sweet Spot, then refuses every dealer add-on with the confidence of a man returning soup at a steakhouse. Protect your wallet. See you next time.